Okay. All right. I'm going to wait just a second here, and then I will proceed with the demo. Oh, got the volume on. There, I got to turn that off. Just making sure everything is correct. Hey, Toots, how you doing? Hi, Patty. Okay. All right. So today, I've got a lot of ground to cover. I'm going to be doing the resin pumpkin, as you know. This one, I've got a little floral arrangement in here. I put some floral foam in here. It's not real steady. It's not real steady, but it's floral foam block in here to put um, the flowers in. So kind of a nice holiday piece. So, and then if you don't want that, you can just use it as a jar. And that would be like this little pumpkin jar. This is in the transparent alcohol ink that I used. And then I also did one with kind of like more of an opaque, and I did this with mica powder. And I'm going to do one of each today to show you how to do these. And then if I have time, I've got one coaster that I'm doing an experiment on, and I'll share that with you too, and we'll see how that turns out. Of course, I won't be able to show you the results until tomorrow, but it just gives you more stuff to do. So, okay. So I've got a huge mess here on my table. It's just the way it is with this stuff. Let me put this finished one to the side. I am using a couple different products here that I'm going to show you. First is chameleon powder. I know it's backwards, but these are chameleon powders that I got from Amazon, and they are little jars of mica powders that are in really pretty vibrant colors. And so we could use those, not these colors for the pumpkin, of course, but I'm going to be using these on that coaster later on. Also, alcohol ink. These are the inks that some of them were in, well, most of them were in this resin pigment, but they're alcohol inks. It kind of throws you off because it says pigment instead of alcohol ink, but that's actually what they are, which I also got on Amazon. And there's 16 different colors in here. And then I added a couple of the Ranger alcohol inks that I'm going to use today. That, and what else here? This was the orange mica powder that I suggested in the group page if you wanted to get supplies. Unfortunately, it didn't come in anything smaller, so it's kind of a big jar. So you'll just have to make a lot of pumpkins. That's all there is to it. And then another product, which I just found out about, is this unicorn. They spelt unicorn wrong. I can't believe it. Unicorn Art Crushed Crystal Mica, Magical Mica Pigment Enhancer. And this gives you little sparklies. And we're going to do this today in the pumpkin. So I thought this would be kind of a nice addition. We'll see how it works, but I think I'm going to really like this, and you probably will as well. Okay, and then I've got my resin, and I've got supplies. I've got some of these, I think these are 16-ounce disposable plastic cups. So I've got some of those, and I've got my little medicine cups. These are 1 ounce. They have little measures on here. If you're doing, just real small projects and you just need a little bit, but you need equal amounts. So those are very handy. I also got some 3-ounce little solo cups. I guess these are like for food service, like you'd get your dressing. Actually, they're a little bit larger than that. Maybe you'd get potato salad in them or something. I don't know. But these little cups are good for mixing too, without too much overspill, or hopefully no overspill. And then I've just got so many things to show you. Then I invested in, I'm not telling you to get this, but I would tell you to get it if you do a lot of resin. But it's not cheap at all. But I thought I would go ahead and take one for the team and get one and see how it works. Jennifer Shoot, I'm not sure if that's how you say your last name, Jennifer, but she brought this to my attention. I'd never seen anything like this, so I went ahead and I bought it and I tried it. Now I've got to say that it's probably better suited to small projects. I don't know. You'll just have to see it. I'll try to use it while we're doing the demo. But this is, it looks like a kind of like an ice cream maker almost. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. And this is like a tank that extracts bubbles from the resin. And it is like in two parts. I stuck a coaster down in here because wasn't sure if I was going to get any resin spill in there, and I kind of just wanted to protect the tank, so I put that in there. And then you put this little doohickey in here and turn it on for however long you want it on, and it sucks the bubbles up. It's not, I wouldn't say it's 100% effective, but it's darn close. So, like I said, it's probably better suited for smaller projects. But, you know, I don't know. I haven't really done any big projects since I had it. So we'll see how it works. But like I said, I'm not telling you you need to have this, but I kind of like it. All right, so I'm going to put this to the side. And hi, Mary. You're in rehab now? I'm glad you're out of the hospital. I hope you're doing well. I haven't talked to you in a long time, so I'm glad to see you here. Okay, so the other thing is the pumpkin mold. This is kind of important. It's a two-part. This is the base, and I've got to tell you here, it comes with the base and it comes with the top of the jar, like this. Okay, that makes the top of the jar. And this is my second set that I had to buy because I just did a dumb thing when I poured in the resin and the bubbles, no, it was on the top. This one I did okay. The top, when I poured in the resin, I was trying to just get the stem. I wanted to get the stem in the green. So I mixed a small amount of resin with the green color in there, and I just poured that into the lid, you know, just that small amount there. And I let that set for maybe 4 hours. Let me back up. I poured the green in here, all right, and as the bubbles came up, I hit it with my torch because I've done that many times with other resin projects, no problem. However, because that's in the very center of the mold, the rest of the mold was just the silicone and it wasn't protected by resin. So when I hit it with the flame, I damaged the silicone, and I didn't realize it when I did it. It really didn't look like I did anything to it, but I know I hit the inside of the mold with the flame. So I went ahead after the 4 hours that I let the stem set. Then I went ahead and mixed up some orange resin to fill the rest of the lid up. And after it set, and I was going to pull the top out of out of the mold, it wouldn't come off. It had, I guess, the defects in the silicone made it so that I couldn't get it out. But then I got on the internet and I started, trying to find out a reason why my uh, resin wouldn't come out of the mold. Because at that point, I didn't know that I had damaged it yet. I don't know if you can follow me or not, but that's what happened. So it said if your mold doesn't want, or if your resin doesn't want to come out of the mold, then soak it in really hot water for a few minutes, and it should pull out. I did that, but you could see the damage that I had done to the mold at that point. So I learned the hard way that you cannot, or you should not, hit the bubbles with the flame if the silicone's not protected. I mean, I should have realized that, but I didn't. So I had to order another one. So now I have two base pumpkins, the jar, the bottom part of the pumpkin, but I only have one lid. So I didn't want to buy another one just for another lid. So, um, that's how that went. But you know what? You learn. You absolutely learn by doing this stuff. So sometimes it's expensive. You make mistakes, and then you pay for it. So anyway, all right. So what I'm going to do is the first one I'm going to do with the alcohol ink and with the little glitter, and then the second pumpkin I'll do with the mica powder. So we'll have a little variety there. And then at the last part, I'm going to do a resin coaster with the mica powder painted in there, which I haven't tried before, but I thought I'd give it a shot and see how that works. So, all right. So let me get this stuff to the side. Well, I need this. And I'm going to use Sunset Orange alcohol ink for the pumpkin. And let's see. Then for the stem, I'm not going to do it that way that I made the two pours. I'm going to put some of the mica powder in the stem so that way I can pour it all at once, and we'll see how that turns out. Okay. All right. So if you're going to do, the other thing is I was also doing more reading on the bubble issue, and they recommended using, well, Mixed Media Girl on YouTube. She recommends using 91% isopropyl alcohol. So I bought some of that, and then I just had an old sprayer around. So I put that in here to help remove the bubbles. Okay. All right. So let me get all my, another thing. I've set up, I got a few just like scrap tiles from, I don't know, Home Depot or someplace where you can just buy individual tiles. You can also use just pieces of cardboard or something to put your project on. Once you've filled it with resin, you don't want to be moving this around. You want this to stay stable. So if you put it on a tile and move it that way, you're not going to spill anything, okay? Theoretically. Okay. You also need some type of container to cover your projects with after you've poured them. That will keep all the dust and pet hair, things like that, off of your resin as it's curing, because once it flies in there, it's in there, so can't get it out. You should also, if you're working with the mica powders, you should wear a mask, only because it flies all over, and more than likely you're breathing it in. So I don't know that you necessarily need a respirator. If you have lung conditions, something like that, maybe you might consider that. But just I'm just wearing a simple face mask like this just to potentially not breathe any of those little sparklies. I don't think I want those in my lungs. So, okay. All right. So I've got my resin, and there's all kinds of resins on the market, and I wish I could say uh, which ones are that I've used that are good or not good or whatever. The only thing I'm basing it by is resin over time tends to yellow. So, I'm using an art resin, and so far I've been using it for a few years, and so far I haven't seen any yellowing. So that's good. Now, in the case of these pumpkins, you're coloring them. So, I mean, you're adding an alcohol ink or mica powder or whatever. So, if your resin did yellow over time, it really, I don't think it should affect that. But if you want a crystal clear resin top on, say, jewelry or whatever, I would recommend something like art jewelry. But like I said, too, there's tons of different two-part epoxy resins on the market, and for a lot cheaper than art resin. But I can't tell you a name brand necessarily that would work well. But I think for this project, any kind of two-part epoxy should be fine. All right. So I'm going to use the Ranger alcohol ink in Sunset Orange. I might add a few drops of the pigment ink that I bought as well, just to give it a little bit of richer color. I don't know which, I don't think it was that. I don't know which one I used now. Ugh. There's so many to choose from, but I don't know, for a pumpkin, I think I don't know, maybe it was amber, because I think that's probably it. Unless I set it aside and don't see it. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I may add a little bit of that. Who knows? Okay, so let me move the laptop back. Deb said, I bought one of the El Cheapo resins and we'll let you know how it goes. Thank you very much. Like I said, for this project, those are probably just fine. And it might be fine for jewelry too. I don't know. You'd have to read, if it's jewelry grade or whatever. However, and I'm not bum wrapping, the can't think of what it is now. There was another resin on the market that said it was jewelry quality, jewelry grade, that didn't yellow, but it did over time. If you look at resin, like if you're at Michael's or Joann's or whatever, and they have resin, both of the jars, the part A and the part B, should both be clear. If one of them is yellowed a little bit, almost not brownish, but I mean it's not clear. It's more on the yellow side. That's all I can say. That's, in my opinion, that's old resin. That's already on its way out. When you have resin, you should store it like in a dark place or in a box or something. I put mine in the closet. So that way the light stays away from it, and that's probably just, um, it's just an easy way for me to store it. Just put it in the closet and that's done. But I didn't know that for a long time, but I read that somewhere not all that long ago, and it said keep it out of the light. It will last longer. So I'm going to do it. For the price of that stuff, I'm going to do it. Bum wrapping, is that for Christmas? No, that's you know what that is. Okay, so let's see here. Some of this stuff out of the way. I have a uh, silicone mat that I'm working on. I'm going to turn the camera down here, except I took it out of the holder, so hang on. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera down and move some of this stuff out of the way. I have too much junk everywhere, but that's how it is. All right. Now, for the pumpkin mold, it recommends about 10 ounces of resin. So you'll need 5 ounces of each container of the part A and part B. So, but I think I'm going to mix a little extra because I'd rather have more than not enough. Okay. All right, don't need that till later. All right. Okay, so these little 3-ounce cups, I'm going to use some of those. Make sure that you have disposable gloves because this is a messy project. And I assure you, if you don't wear gloves, you will get it all over yourself. You also need a timer. And I've got my little timer right there. And let's see here. All right, and don't mix your caps up. There's one cap, usually, well, I can't tell you on other resins, but on this, the resin is a black cap and the hardener is a white cap. So don't mix your caps up. I wrote on the bottle, the black cap is for the resin. All right, so let me get my thoughts straight here. All right, so this is going to be 3 ounces. You want to make sure you have exact measures in both the hardener and the resin. And it would help if your table's level. I think my table is not quite level. Okay. So that's 3 ounces. Pour that in here. And scrape this all out so you know that you're getting all of your measurement. And I'm going to pour this again. So because I'm going to make a little extra. And you go through a lot of resin if you're making things like this. This is not at all like when you're making jewelry. If you want to be absolutely accurate, then I would weigh the containers and make sure you've got the exact measurement. Are you guys getting the broadcast okay, or is it doing weird stuff? Because I see my laptop goes to green screen for just a second and then it goes back. So I just wondered if you're having any issues. Okay, so that's one measure. And have lots of paper towels around too for any uh, wiping up. Now I'm going to put my cap back on my resin jar and set that to the side. Oh, no, Sue, don't put it in there. Okay, measure in here. So one. This is going to be a full cup. So I'm thinking maybe this cup is 12 ounces, not 16. The cup that I'm mixing in. I don't think I've ever mixed this much. Maybe I have. Yeah, I guess I have. Okay, and one more of these. Thanks, Patty. And wipe up your containers, your resin containers, after you've poured, because inevitably you'll get some spillage on the side by the spout, and then you get your handful of resin. So wipe that off. Okay, so I've got that. And I'm also using a tongue depressor as a mixing stick because this is such a large quantity. I'd rather use that than a craft stick, but you can do that too. All right, trying to keep my messes to a minimum. Wiping off my jars, resin container. Okay. All right, now I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes and begin to mix slowly. You want to incorporate all of it, but you want to mix it slowly. And when I was talking about that resin debubbler machine that I bought, about working in small batches, I only say that because when you put the top on that machine, there's not a lot of space for a cup this size to fit under and get the, I don't know, get the effect for it to work. I don't want to get resin on the bottom of the top. I'll explain that. It's just hard to put that into words. I would need a smaller or lower, wider container to put my resin in if I wanted that, this much resin in there. This is a lot. If I was doing if I was doing the coasters, or not coasters necessarily, but a smaller amount. Now I lost my train of thought. The lower cups are much easier to put in that machine, if that's what I was talking about. I'm losing my mind. Because I was just thinking I need to put the alcohol ink and color in here and the sparkles. But if I was trying to mix extra resin to pour into that coaster, and for that I need clear. So I might have kind of shot myself in the foot on that idea. So you're scraping the edges of the cup and the bottom of the cup as you're mixing, so that way you get a good uniform mix. We're doing this for 3 minutes. And just want to get it all incorporated, mix the two together really well. You can kind of see it through the cup of it, how you're mixing it. Time is almost up, but to me it doesn't look like it's mixed thoroughly, so I'm going to go a little bit over in my mixing time because of the large quantity. All right. I'm going to go just a little bit longer. The faster you mix the resin, the more bubbles you incorporate into it. So try to be patient, take your time, and get it thoroughly mixed. Oh, an important step I didn't do, but my resin can wait for a couple of minutes. But I need to put the green mica powder in the stem of the pumpkin. I did not do that. So I'm going to do that in just a second here. And then I will add, I have to take these off. This is always how I roll. I'm going to get the green alcohol ink. No, I'm not. I'm doing the mica. Duh. All right, where's the mica powders? They're over. You know, I think I must be dreaming. I don't have green mica powder. Oh, God. Oh, God. What a mess I am. What did I do? I must have been dreaming that I did that. Honestly. I don't have, well, I guess I have a shade of green, but it's kind of, oh, hell's bells. I'll do this. This should work. It's a nice shimmery little green. So lower this a little bit. All right, so this is a nice shimmery little green, and I'm going to just put that in. Honestly, I thought I had this all figured out. I thought this is going to be great. This demo is going to go smooth and without a hitch, and that was my first mistake, was thinking that. All right, we'll just have to see how that turns out. I guess I need to order myself some green, a little darker green mica powder, comparable to the orange. All right, so I've just kind of brushed that all along here. We'll see what happens. It could be a dud. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to pull some of this resin out of here. Oh, I got to put gloves on again. All right. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to add my alcohol ink. And I don't have an exact how many drops or squirts or whatever. I'm just going to put some in. Check this topaz out. No, I guess I didn't use this one because I didn't cut the tip off. So I'm kind of cray-cray, I guess. That's ruby. I could swear I had one. But if I had one, I either put it somewhere that I don't see it, but I don't think so. Yeah, you have to cut the tips off of the resin, so I must not have done that. Honestly, I don't know if I'm coming or going sometimes. So, sorry about that. All right. Might finish this one up. Ooh. It's kind of hard to tell. So that you're going to just have to guess on your own how much orange you want in there. But I think that looks pretty good now. All right. Now I'm going to add some sparkle powder in there. And that, I think, is going to be very cool. This stuff is pretty neat. All right, so I'm going to take, I don't know how much of this either, but I'm just going to put a little bit on a spoon and mix it in. This does not sink. This particular kind of mica flakes doesn't sink to the bottom of your resin, so it will stay suspended. I think that's probably plenty. But I want to mix that in really good. And before I pour in the mold, I'm going to move that tile over and put the pumpkin on it, the mold on it, I mean. This will make it look really magical. Okay. This stuff out of the way. Grab my tile. And I'm going to do the lid first. Man, I just can't help but get resin all over me. Does that fit in there? No. I'm going to just set this pumpkin on this little 2-ounce cup. Okay, so I'm going to pour this in the lid very slowly. Get down in the bottom. Well, that'll be a pretty pumpkin color. Fill that up. All the way to the edge. Without going over it. All right. And set that to the side. So we'll want to look at that again in a few minutes for the bubbles. And now I'm going to pour into the pumpkin mold. All right, and very slowly, I'm going to pour into here. Oh no. Come on, I'm sorry, guys. I can't get, just have to listen to the ringing. Another fun-filled demo from Sue. Probably a robocall. This takes quite a bit of resin, as you can see. I've got way more than I need because I'm an idiot. I wish I had another mold I could put it in. Okay, that's right to the top. Okay, I still have quite a bit of resin in this cup. So there you go. All right, so that's in there. I'll bring my lid back over here. Oh, and you can also use a heat gun to pop the bubbles, which I forgot to bring out. I'm going to have to go grab that. But as long as I'm pouring, I'm going to go ahead and do this other thing here, this coaster. I'm going to show you this coaster. Right before the demo, I got a wild hair to try this, and I'm going to I put different mica powders on the flower coaster. So I'm going to fill this with resin as well. Put this over here. I'm going to fill that with the clear resin that I took out to the side here, and I'm going to pour that in, and we'll see what happens. I want to see how this sets. I think I'm going to have enough to do something else. Okay, that looks fine. I'm going to grab my is it hard to get out of the pumpkin mold? Yes, it is, but it is doable. So I'm going to show you because I have one in the mold to take out because I'm a full service operation here. All right, I got take these gloves off. I'm going to go get my heat gun, and I'll be right back. I grabbed another resin mold, a coaster mold, I mean, while I was up. Oh, it's worse than a girdle, Deb, but I can see the similarity. All right, now bubbles are rising to the top, so get this cord out of the way here. So I'm going to hit them with a heat gun. And you have to keep an eye on them for a while because bubbles will continue to rise for a good while. So we'll do that. Now, darn it, I wish I had another thing to put resin into, but I don't. Now let me try this alcohol because I haven't tried that before on the bubbles. You really can't do much about the bubbles that are inside the mold of the pumpkin base. But for the ones that have a large surface like this, you want to try to get the bubbles out. All right. So all right, I'm trying to get my train of thought here. I guess. I'll keep an eye on that for a couple of minutes. I'm going to cover up this mica powder because I'm afraid I could spill it. With my luck, I probably would. All right, now well, I don't think I will do that, but basically all I did with this coaster was brush on the mica powders onto the on this, and we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to set this over to the side, and I'll pop bubbles again in a bit. All right. Then I'm going to start on the mica powder pumpkin. I'm going to take a little bit of this resin out here. Kind of overfilled the base of the pumpkin. So I just spooned a little bit out. Okay, And I'm going to set these things on the side. And then I'll get back to those in a little bit to pop more bubbles. I think I'm going to like that sparkle. I'm kind of liking that a lot already. All right. So I guess I could have used more paper towels. Oh, I think I have some not too far. Okay, and a couple more. All right, so now I'm going to demold the pumpkin, and then you can see the struggle of that. Okay, so the top is easy to get out. I should say it's not a problem to get out. Okay, this is one that's already done, and I'm going to use this mold now to do the mica powder ones, but I had to get this one out. So you kind of have to wrestle it a little bit and pull it down. This is actually easier than the first time I did it, because I think it just gets easier, if you could call this easy. All right, we'll get it. It's a good thing I'm not a spokesperson for the company that makes these. Okay, so that's out. Now on the bottom, there's a little bit of a rim on the bottom, and you can sand that very lightly. If it's a little bit sharp, you can sand that down a little bit. But if you sand it, be careful not to bump into the base of the pumpkin and sand that, because then you're going to have ugly scratches on there, and you don't want that. Okay, so that's a little pumpkin. Okay, so this is your mold when it's inside out, and you need the mold inside out when you're applying mica powders. Okay, so I'm going to get the orange powder, which gets everywhere. I'm going to put my mask on. Because this stuff really flies. And I'm just going to dip. Let me see if the bigger brush is better. Oh yeah. You have to put the mica powder all on here, but then you have to turn it back, right side out again. So that's takes a little bit of care. Yeah, I looked up, I think they are adorable. And I looked up to see if there was any kind of Christmas tree ones, and there are, but there's not like a jar. They're just like little Christmas tree things that you'd put on the table, decoration. Um, but the ones that I liked seemed like they take an awful lot of resin, and I don't know if it's worth it or not. But there's so many different kinds of molds out there for resin these days. It's really kind of neat. Try not to leave clumps of the resin, I mean, of the mica powder, because it does show up on the finished project where you get a little heavy handed with it. And I'm working on a paper towel. I can pour this stuff back in the jar. I'm not too worried because I don't know if I'll ever use this jar up, but if it's something that you don't want to lose too much of, you can pour it back in your jar. Okay. All right. So now I've got to pop that back together. Easier said than done. There. I may or may not have disturbed some of the mica powder. I guess we'll find out. Try to stick my brush in there. Okay. Move that over to the side. And I don't have another lid, so I'll have to do the lid tomorrow. So that's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. All right, so this stuff is a mess, but it's pretty cool. Ooh. Hence, I say wear a mask. Okay, and I'll take a wet paper towel later and wipe that all down, get rid of that, all that dust. Now, so now I have to make another batch of resin. And I've got this on my mind, man. I've got this extra stuff here that it's just killing me to waste this. Anybody think I can do anything with that? I don't know. All right. So I'm going to get my other tile. In the meantime, I'm going to pop some bubbles on my resin here. All right. Okay. All right. I just ran the heat gun over the other uh, pumpkin. Man, I got mica all over the place. All right, so let's do this now. I'm going to need more resin. And I already have some here. I'm not sure how much, but I'm going to do, let's see, do 3 and 3. I'm going to do 3 and 3. And then I have stuff left over, the other stuff. Let's see. And I think I want to show you that resin bubbler, the action that it makes, or how it works, as long as I've got it out here. Okay, add this one doesn't have to have any alcohol ink in it because it's got the mica powder in it. Kind of half tempted to wonder about the sparkles, but I'm going to let it go. And then I think I'm going to add that other resin, the leftover, to this because it's not been that long since I mixed it. You've got about 40 to 45 minutes of working time with this stuff. So pour that in there too. And if I come up short, I can mix a tiny bit pretty quickly and add it to the top of the pumpkin, or to the pumpkin mold, I mean. We'll see what happens. All right, where's my timer? This may or may not be enough, but I can always, like I said, add a little bit more in there. And then I'll get the resin bubbler in here to show you how it sucks up the bubbles. Any questions? I'll post these tomorrow after I pull them from the molds. But I'll have to make a pumpkin top, the lid, tomorrow, since this one is occupied for the next 12 to 20 hours. They say it's cured in 12 hours, but when stuff is in a mold like this, I would let it go longer. If you don't have to mess with it for a whole 24 hours, that would be great. Scraping the sides and the bottom often. Oh, dear. I was going to take pictures as I went along here, and I forgot, of course. Take one right there. And I did a handout. I've got a handout with pictures and information, so that way you can always look over that. Okay. All right, now I'm going to use the resin debubbler. I have to move things around a little bit. Oh, I still have my mask on. I don't need that on anymore. Okay, let me, of course I don't have gloves on again. If I only had a brain. Well, it's too late now. All right. So, let me see if I can get this in the frame. This is what I was talking about before as far as the height of a cup that you put inside of it. That, and when you put a cup this high in here, it pretty much touches the bottom of this, which I don't think is a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my cup down a little bit. And if I'd have thought about it, I would have done this prior to having it filled with resin, but you know, that's me. So I'm just going to cut this cup down a bit. It would have been so much cleaner to do this ahead of time. Okay, so now I have my scissors I have to clean. So I'm going to set this cup inside here. All right, so that's in. Get this out of the way. All right. Okay, so the cup is inside. And then I'm going to put the top on. I don't know if you're going to be able to really tell so much. I'm going to have to move the camera also. But on the top of the unit, there is, well, first off, there's a little air seal on the side. I don't know if you can see it. It's just this little tiny thing, and you cover this hole up. You push that in, so that doesn't let any air escape. Okay, and then okay, why aren't we turning on? What's that? Am I plugged in? Well, damn. Let me get up here. This is not good. Am I plugged in? Oh, I guess this wasn't in all the way. Okay, so that's in. You can set it for 5 minutes or 9 minutes. I'm setting it for 5. And I'm going to bring the camera down. And the cables. Making anybody dizzy here. There we go. So I don't know if you can tell what happened. Came out again. I guess I moved it. Makes a little noise. Too close. I don't know if you can see or not, but what's happening is all the bubbles, if you can see at the bottom how, oh my God. Sorry, just a minute. I am going to have to take issue with that. For whatever reason, it's not working well. Maybe it's me. Sorry. Well, I hope I haven't lost my window of opportunity to take this back. Now you're going to look at the ceiling for a minute. Wrong way. Okay, I guess this is not a good idea for right now. I have to find out what's wrong. I've used it a couple of times and it seemed like it was fine. but it seems like it's being very persnickety. Okay, sorry. We're gonna stop doing that. Put this back in the holder. Sorry about that. But I guess it's good to know because, it's like, it's an expensive unit. Ugh. Oh, I'm releasing the air that built up. Okay, so much for that. I thought it was another learning opportunity. All right, let me zero in on the bubbles right now because the bubbles were making their way up to the top. You can kind of see it looks white, kind of foamy almost, but that's all bubbles. So let's see if I can knock those out with my heat gun. That's working. They'll have to all rise to the top. Let that rise a little bit more. Honestly, I used it like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times already, and it seemed fine. I didn't have any issues. So I don't know what the deal is that it's behaving like this today. But now I have a ton of bubbles. Now I have a ton of bubbles in here that need to rise to the surface before I pour. Boy, that makes me mad. Oh. Okay. Well, hell. I'm going to go ahead and pour this because maybe with the mica powder, the bubbles won't show that much. Could be terribly wrong. But the resin on the bottom of the cup is pretty bubble free. And we'll just see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and pour it. Pouring slowly. There is a resin bowl that I think I've showed a couple of times also that I got on Amazon that is very pretty. And you might, if you're interested in doing this sort of thing, you might want to check that out as well. I'll put a link for that too after I'm done, and I'll send out the handout, and then you can just have at it. Oh, you mean Dave, Patty? I don't know. That might work, but I mean this was actually the theory was was a suction that was pulling the bubbles to the surface. So I'm going to have Al, my handyman, look at that after the broadcast. And then I'm also going to look up when I bought it. So hopefully I can return it and not be out the money. But that's disappointing because it worked fine. Of course, when I'm not live. All right, so this is full. And you just don't want to go over that top. If you're even with the top, that's great. And that makes that little rim around there, makes it all even. Um, okay, Dave, my vibrator is not handy at the moment, Patty, or I would have given that a shot to see if that worked at all. All right, so now I'm going to check back on the other pieces that are going. And I'm going to add this guy over there. And I'm going to do the heat gun. Let me bring this over here a bit. What a mess this is. But it's a fun mess. Okay. So I will babysit this for maybe a half an hour or so. And then, but I'll cover it up. I'll cover it with this plastic box if it fits. Oh crap. I hit that. All right. All right. So then I cover it like that. Oop, and then kick it. You see it? It's all covered up like that. And then I'll lift that occasionally in the next half an hour and just check on bubbles and we'll see what happens. So that's making a resin pumpkin with a little mess. So I don't know. Now that this thing threw me off, I'm kind of irritated because that wasn't supposed to happen. It was working really nicely. So I don't know what the deal is, but if it's that temperamental, I don't want it. And I want my money back. So we'll see. I will let these sit till tomorrow, probably about this time. And then I'll pull them out of the molds and then I'll put a picture of it on the group website tomorrow night and show you what happened with what we did. And I'm hoping that coaster comes out cute because I hadn't tried that with the mica powder before. So we'll see. What else is new? I can't think of what I might do next time in 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now is when? Probably right before Halloween. Let me see here. Let me see what the date is. And 2 weeks from now is the 24th. So I could conceivably do another Halloween type project. I don't know. I don't have anything in my brain at the moment to mention, but I will come up with something. I'm going to be doing a little holiday show at my grandson's school. He messaged me last night and he said, "Grandma, they're having a little holiday sale and they're offering booths for $50 for 2 days. I have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock on a Thursday and a Friday." And I said, "Okay, we'll do it." And my first thought was we could make keychains or ornaments, copper things like that. And so now I've got to put an order in. I think I ordered like $185 worth of pancake dies and rolling mill plates to do this event with him, for the holidays. So um, I'm sure it's going to end up costing me more money than what I'll make, but he's so excited to do that for his school. So now I've got that on my brain, and anyway, I'll be starting to make holiday ornaments for that and probably for Christmas. I don't know. So I'm not really sure what I'll do next time. Maybe I'm thinking an enameling project would be nice. I haven't done enamel in a while, so I may do that. And maybe I'll do a Halloween theme with that too. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so that's all I got. I will see you in a couple of weeks. Nice to, well, I can't see you either, Patty, but I'm glad you enjoy seeing my face. I'm glad somebody does. Um, so, like I said, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, but I will post the pictures of these projects tomorrow. So, thanks for watching. I always enjoy you guys being with me while I do these things so I can humiliate myself in public and but hopefully turn you on to something different to enable you because I'm a great enabler. So, all right. See you next time. Bye bye.